everybody. My name is 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗓, and welcome to the Clarity Project podcast. Today, it's episode number 22. For today's episode of the Clarity Project podcast, we're going back to our previous engagement, to our previous order of things, and I'm going to have my notebook with me again. And as you would know, if you've been here from the beginning, you would know that I would read notes from my notebook, and I'm going to reflect on those notes afterwards. So, for today's episode, let me read the note to you guys. It's called The Truth About Breakups. Breakups are not just about the past and the present. It is also about the future. Let me explain. Obviously, breakups happen because of the past. There could be something in their part that was just too much for you. Maybe a revelation that you just found out, or a thing you knew but cannot tolerate anymore. The present is about the now. What are they doing that's just not working? Maybe their behavior, how they treated you, and their attitude. These two things seem straightforward, but the breakup about the future is something most people overlook. This kind of breakup is when you don't see the other person in your future life anymore. How they see that you are just not someone who's going to be the person that they want, or could be the person capable of being the right person for them in the future. So this note talks about how obvious it is in terms of breakups in relationship, how we often see how the past could be the culprit on why people go separate ways. It is easy to spot this because every time that we see other people separate because of the past, it could be something that is bad that happened in the past. Maybe there's a third party involved. Maybe someone cheated. Maybe someone is having this violent behavior towards the other person. So these toxicity, these aggressiveness, these violence, these red flags culminate into what would lead to a breakup because of the past. It could also be about the present, the current things that the other person, your partner, is doing to you. Maybe they're hurting you physically, emotionally, or psychologically. These things become aggregate into how a relationship would end. And that's the obvious part, as I mentioned earlier. But what most people do not see is the breakups that happen because of the future. Now, you might be wondering, why and how could that happen? Because it hasn't happened yet, right? Well, it's probably because of your own expectations of what's going to happen in the future. If the other person doesn't see that you're going to change in the future, or they don't see that you're going to be consistent in the future, then they're probably going to cut the deal off. That is why when it comes to relationship, trust is such a big factor. Trust is such a big deal, because you have to have trust to the other person that they're going to be the right person for you in the future. And if a person breaks the deal with you, they're not only breaking up because of your past, and they're not only breaking up because of who you are presently, which is the present moment, they're also breaking up with your future self, because they see it in themselves that you're not going to be the person who's going to be right for them in the future. So this hurts even more, because this means that they've lost confidence in you. They've lost trust in you. Long story short, they don't believe you anymore. So that's the kind of a dynamic that happens in each and every relationship. It's not just about the past. It's not just about the present. It's also about the future. With that being said, that's the end of the first note, and I'm going to go into the next note, which is a bonus note for all of you guys. So this also doesn't have a date on it, but I'm guessing it's somewhere, because this notebook is somewhere 2022 to 2024, so it's somewhere around that range. If I have to guess, it's probably 2023. So this is about the scars, or our scars. So let me read it to you guys. A scar reminds us of the past. It reminds us of our past pain, of our wound. It tells us that we're healed. A scar is only a reminder. It does not hurt. A wound, on the other hand, hurts. It tells us that we are still in pain. So here's the thing, if we put that in context with our life, things that still hurts is a wound. things that used to but left a mark is a scar. A wound takes time to heal. Some wounds don't leave a mark, but some wounds leave a scar. So, what this note talks about is the different pains that we have in our life. If we would look at that analogy, we would see the connection between our pain physically and our pain emotionally. Maybe something that has happened to you in the past or is currently happening to you. As it says here, a wound still hurts, meaning it is still there. A scar doesn't hurt anymore, but it leaves a mark. But not every wound leaves a mark. So this also talks about the kind of pain that you have in your life. Some pain are still fresh, it's still here, and that's what you call a wound. Some pain do not hurt anymore, but it's still there. It leaves a mark. It leaves a lasting impact on you and your life, presently and in the future. That's a scar. And then there are pains and wounds, that's something that hurt you in the past that doesn't leave a mark. It's just something that's really painful for a while, but after a while you'll get over them. You'll move on from them, and you'll come to a day where it doesn't, not only that it doesn't hurt anymore, it also didn't leave a mark. So I guess a nice reflection for that to add in is to try and look into the different pain that happen throughout your life, the different kinds of things that happen in your life, and what you could categorize as wounds and what can you categorize as scars. Scars that left a mark and wounds that healed that didn't leave a mark. Wounds that fully healed. So I guess with that being said, I like to be able to close the podcast episode with that. And if you watch this as a whole or you watch it in snippets, I like to be able to thank you, and I'll see you again on the next one. And oh, by the way, did that make sense? Follow for more. Thank you and goodbye.